Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I've got less hair, but I've still got lots of opinions. The new Approved Ops 2025 has dropped for Kill Team, giving us some fresh new ways to play the game, and I am really excited to get stuck into the new secondary objectives, as well as some of the maps and some of the fresh ways to play the game. But today, I just wanted to make a quick video about something that I feel is both the best and the worst thing about the release simultaneously. So there've been a lot of excellent changes made to the game. We've got new crit ops giving us fresh new primary objectives, new tac ops which change up the way the secondary objectives are played throughout the game, and of course the thing that kind of I feel most people are pleased with is the new maps. Kind of. I can hear you saying, we already know about the Tomb World and it's been talked to death, but today I wanted to talk about some real missed opportunities in the release. And the main felony for me here is basically the rehashed maps that have been dropped for Gallowdark, as well as the really poorly implemented new maps for Beta Decima as well. I mean, they couldn't even give us 6 fully functioning maps. We got one weirdly broken one. Principally, it isn't the fact that we're getting new maps repackaged. I actually think there's a place for canonizing very well received maps in the game. If we think of like video games, for example, why would we want a Halo release without like Blood Gulch? Or why would we want a Counter-Strike release without Dust? The Call of Duty guys, they like Rust, maybe Bog. These old school maps that kind of have very iconic ways to play. So it isn't necessarily the repackaging of maps that I feel is a problem. And it also isn't necessarily the fact that we're getting maps which predate this new edition of Approved Ops. What I mean by that is, in terms of Beta Decima, that map came out, which wasn't very well received, isn't very well loved by the community, but that map came out at a time when you could get 5 equipment slots. Now, being an equipment slot down across the board for everyone is huge on a map which is only kind of made bearable to play by the use of barricades and ladders and stuff like that. So even though the sort of the map releases have got these things going against them, it's a rehashed set of maps, and it's maps that aren't very well optimized for this new edition of Approved Ops. It isn't either of those things that has got me down. It's simply the fact that we already have really good community-driven maps out in the wild. For Gallowdark, we have the asymmetric map pack from Squad Games, which breathes new life into a set of terrain that has been around for a long time now. Into the Dark came out sort of as Kill Team was really breaking its stride, and it really felt like the first bespoke offering in terms of a kill zone. Squad Games have done a really good job of integrating sprues that Games Workshop already produced in the form of the breachable walls to create a fresh new way of approaching the Gallowdark maps. And look, I understand that obviously Games Workshop runs in incredibly sort of long form timescales. I can only imagine the lead time on a set of terrain that's got to be tooled, engineered, produced, shipped. There's a good chance that these map packs weren't even released when Games Workshop was producing this product. So I understand that the devs don't get to make these kind of decisions, and they're also constrained by the fact that they probably got to push products that are already on sale. However, you could argue it'd be very easy for them to produce upgrade packs when the sprues and the tooling and everything else is already in place from previous releases. However, all that aside, what's a real kick in the dick is it would be really easy to just endorse these map packs, So that's only one half of the sort of story here, because the really heinous thing for me is the return of Beta Decima in its current form. I know I sound like an old man, like waving his fist at the sky here, but I do actually like how how Beta Decima plays in terms of the platforming. I think it gives you some really interesting choices when it comes to staging and sort of reaching out throughout the game in really creative ways, but the rest of the map functions totally at odds to the the wider sort of sandbox of the game. And the new England Decima map packs went a long way to fixing those shortcomings. Again, also using kits that Games Workshop have produced previously. So it uses scatter terrain from the Kill Team Arena release, which probably would never see the light of day otherwise. And it uses, the sort of highly lauded, container boxes. It gives them a home. I'm not expecting huge things here like Killzone upgrade packs. That would be like pie in the sky amazing, but I'm not expecting things like that. I'm sure producing Toon World, pushing that out the door, probably had, the logistics chain well and truly maxed out. But given the state that Beta Decima's in, given the fact it was never used at any of the Warhammer World events, and given the fact that these layouts make use of existing Games Workshop product, and given the fact that they couldn't even be asked checking the maps that they produced themselves for this map pack, surely we can give credit where credit's due and just endorse community-driven map packs, Right, I'm done moaning now. So let's talk about why these map packs are not only the worst, but the best thing to happen to the game. Obviously, Toon World, good, Toon World itself as a standalone product is pretty spot on. I feel like the aesthetics are good. I feel like the theme is good. Theming it around a single faction that is so far removed from the normal Imperial aesthetic is a really good choice, and I'm really looking forward to the idea of seeing like Eldar sort of Wraithbone corridors and things like that in the future, maybe. So that withstanding the fact that we've got a brilliant map to play, which is boss in its own right, what I'm most excited about is the potential that this box set kind of forecasts for the future of the game, because the competitive format, the competitive rules that everyone's playing is making use of every last little bit of terrain on the sprue. When Into the Dark released, I was really excited to play with breachable walls and stuff like that, but we never got to, because there was kind of a two-tiered system where like the strange or sort of really unpredictable elements of the game were ripped out, were gutted, and they were reserved for like narrative play. And that doesn't exist in the Toon World release. We've got a fully fledged, fully integrated kit which uses strange rules like teleporters and stuff like that, and we actually get scatter terrain that means something on the map. Beta Decima, please. This opens up like a whole new world of possibilities and potential for future releases. Think about it, guys. Like, if we can have like Necron teleportation pads, we can probably have webway gates. Do you know what I mean? We could get Death Whale forests executed properly. Demon worlds. Like, the possibilities are endless if the devs are willing to go hard on a theme like they have with Toon World. I'm working on some long form content at the moment, some animations for TAC Ops and stuff like that. I'm happy to be back off my holiday. Hopefully I'll be back to a more regular schedule again now I'm back. Hope I didn't neg anyone out with all this moaning. I just kind of a lot of feelings,